The SKS. This one is for you bayonet twirling history buffs. So get ready, buckle down for the saga of the Soviet rifle that's got more grit than a Serbian winter and more charm than a vodka-fueled campfire sing-along. This semi-auto workhorse didn't just fire bullets, of course. It actually pretty much carried the weight of the Red Army's dreams before the AK-47 stole the spotlight anyway. Born in a land of hammer and sickle, the SKS is the underdog that just keeps on ticking. So pour you some tea, kick back, and let's march through some history of a rifle tougher than a babushka's scolding and twice as reliable. My name is Dwayne, this is Hunt Shoot Live. Let's dive into some gun history. The SKS, which comes from something that I can't even begin to pronounce, but basically is transloaded self-loading carbine of the Simnov system. It emerged in the Soviet Union during World War II's final days as the bolt-action Mosin Nagants dominated the Red Army. Designers sought a semi-automatic rifle to boost firepower without the complexity of earlier attempts like the SVT-40. So enter the picture, Sergei Simnov. He was a Soviet engineer with a knack for practical designs. In 1943, Simnov developed the SKS chambered for the new, at the time, 7.62 by 39 cartridge. It was a mid-powered round, balancing range and recoil. The SKS used a gas-operated tilted bolt system and a 10-round internal magazine fed by stripper clips. Blended simplicity and reliability. It featured a fixed wooden stock and in most models a folding bayonet for your close quarters combat. Tested in 1944, the SKS was adopted in 1945 as the SKS-45. But World War II ended before it saw any significant combat time, and by 1949 Soviet factories like Tula and some other something I can't pronounce began mass production, setting the stage for its Cold War career. So the SKS hit its stride in the early Cold War, serving as the Soviet Union's primary infantry rifle before the AK-47's rise. The semi-automatic action allowed faster follow-up shots than the bolt actions, and the 7.62 by 39 round was effective up to around 400 meters or so. The SKS saw action in the Korean War, 1950 through around 1953, where Chinese and North Korean troops used Soviet-supplied models, proving its durability in harsh conditions. The rifle's fixed magazine and lack of selective fire, however, made it much less versatile than the fully automatic AK-47, which began replacing it in Soviet service by the mid-1950s. The SKS became a Soviet export hit, arming Warsaw Pact nations like East Germany and Romania, as well as allies in Asia and Africa and the Middle East. China produced millions of Type 56 SKS rifles, often with slight tweaks like stamped receivers. From Vietnam's jungles to African insurgencies, the SKS was a reliable, low-maintenance option for armies on a budget, earning a reputation for ruggedness even if it wasn't as flashy as its Kalashnikov cousin. Now, during the Vietnam War, so 1955 to 1975, the SKS played a key role in North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces alongside the AK-47. Its lighter weight, around 8.5 pounds, and accuracy made it a favorite for the guerrillas who used it in ambushes and skirmishes. The SKS's stripper clip system was slower to reload than the AK-47's detachable magazine, but its simplicity suited irregular forces. Captured SKS rifles were sometimes prized by U.S. troops as souvenirs, with some GIs marveling at its craftsmanship compared to early M16s. As the AK-47 and its variants dominated communist arsenals, the SKS was phased out of the frontline service in most countries. It remained in use for ceremonial roles, reserve units, in militias, particularly in China, where the Type 56 stayed active into the 1980s. The rifle's global spread did continue, with surplus models reaching conflicts in the Balkans, Middle East, and certainly beyond, often modified with aftermarket stocks and optics. The SKS found a second life in civilian hands during the 80s. Surplus rifles flooded Western markets, especially in the US and Canada. Imported from China and Russia and Yugoslavia, SKS rifles were dirt cheap, often under $100. Certainly not the case anymore, making them a hit with shooters and hunters and pretty much everybody, because who doesn't want a $100 rifle? The 7.62x39 cartridge was ideal for deer and hogs and varmints and just generally slinging lead at various things. The civilian marksmanship program and gun shops sold crates of SKS rifles, often still packed in cosmoline. The U.S. assault weapons ban from '94 to 2004 restricted detachable magazines, so that significantly boosted the SKS's appeal since its fixed 10-round magazine was compliant. Aftermarket accessories emerged, from synthetic stocks to scope mounts, though, of course, purists stuck with the classic wood look. The SKS became a staple at gun ranges, valued for its low recoil and Soviet mystique, even if it lacked the AR-15's customization and the AK-47's firepower. So as of right now, the SKS is a nostalgic favorite, no longer a military weapon, but certainly a cherished civilian rifle. Surplus models, especially the Chinese Type 56 and the Yugoslavian models, remain pretty widely available, with prices now, unfortunately, in that $350 to probably $700 range due to collector demand. Modern manufacturers like Century Arms offer refurbished SKS and aftermarket parts, stocks, detachable magazines, all those there to cater to the tinkerers, though such mods are divisive among traditionalists. The SKS shines in hunting and recreational shooting and historical reenactments with its bayonet and grenade launcher on some models, adding some flair. It's less common in competitive shooting due to its fixed magazine and weight and sometimes lack of comparable accuracy. So there you have it, the SKS's journey from Simnov's sketch pad to the hands of soldiers, guerrillas, and weekend warriors. This rifle certainly didn't just survive the Cold War. It thumbed its nose at obsolescence and kept shooting while trendier guns just rusted away. So whether you're hunting or collecting or just flexing some of that Soviet swagger, the SKS certainly delivers. Get up and go polish your bayonet. Give a nod to a carbine that's still got more fight than a bear on vodka. Clean the cosmoline out of that thing, because history doesn't just shoot itself. My name is Dwayne from Hunt, Shoot, Live. Thanks for joining me for some gun history.